Great to see everyone. Is everyone having a good Trailhead DX? Awesome. Before we get started, I do want to emphasize our forward-looking statement slide. It's the best part of the day. Everyone gets, how many times have you seen it? 5 times a day already? All right. We are going to be talking today specifically in this session about it's sort of a sneak peek, a little bit deeper dive in what you may have seen in today's keynote. So I want to make sure that everyone understands, make sure you make your buying decisions based on readily available products. Ask your AE, they'll tell you what's out there or not. So great, I'm here to talk to you today about the Integration Cloud. Who saw the keynote today? Great, you saw a little bit. Brett Taylor, our Chief Product Officer, introduced it. Patrick Stokes, our SVP of the Integration Cloud, gave you some more detail. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail today, kind of double click on some key components and really amplify why it's such an important thing and why we want to give you this sort of early introduction into the Integration Cloud. My name's Ron Pereira, Senior Director of Product Marketing on the Integration Cloud. And I'm super excited to be working on this product because it's actually something very personal for me. I've actually only been at Salesforce for about 2 years, a little less than 2 years. And for many moons prior to that, my business, my reason for existence was integration. I worked with lots of e-commerce companies, gathering data from e-commerce platforms, from loyalty solutions, from order management solutions, bringing all that data together and making it actionable, and then putting it in the Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So this is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And you know what I know about it? It's not easy. So getting the opportunity to work at something like this at scale is super exciting to me, and I'm super excited to share it with all of you. As you know, we all know that today's customer expects a connected experience. This is something that we talked about in today's keynote. It's something we hear over and over as we talk to our customers. Whether you're in the B2B or B2C, the connected experience is sort of table stakes for everyone. As I mentioned in my past life, I delivered connected marketing experiences, gathering all that data, making it actionable, and delivering hyper-personalization in the Marketing Cloud was really, really impactful for the customers that I worked with, and I look forward to being able to do that with the Integration Cloud. And the experience that Patrick Stokes mentioned today in the keynote is one that we can all relate to. It's that really, really personalized customer service experience. It's not just that the agent knows you and can anticipate what you want and can help you at the moment of need, but it's also the notion that the agent is really, really happier when they're able to do their job without having to switch between systems. We call it the swivel chair problem. It's something that we hear about all the time. And it's something that we're going to talk a little bit about today. So how do you solve those problems? How do you deliver on the connected experience? Well, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the Salesforce Integration Cloud. And the Integration Cloud has 3 main components. It's an integration platform. It's an integration builder that delivers these incredible integrated experiences. So let's talk a little bit about the integration platform. The integration platform is really, when you think about it, the layer at which you're going to drive all of that incredible connectivity, not just among the Salesforce instances, tenants, clouds, orgs that you're dealing with on a daily basis, but to all these systems that are outside of Salesforce that make up your application network, if you will, your network of applications that make your business really what it is. And it's that the connectivity that's sort of foundational to everything that is part of the Integration Cloud. But we know that it's not enough to just kind of batch and move data around. Today's business is driven by APIs, and being intelligent about how you manage the API lifecycle is absolutely critical to how you build out an integration platform. So that's, of course, a critical component to our API, or our integration platform, is understanding the API lifecycle and giving you the tools to manage that. And finally, you have to be able to discover and understand all of the services and events that are happening throughout your application network. And that's why in the integration platform, you'll have discoverable services, the ability to understand all of the different events and data that are flowing through your application network. The integration builder is where the click-based UI, where you bring this all together to map the different systems and arrive at what we're calling that common customer model. You can think of this often as your single view of the customer, but more often than not, when you're thinking about your different clouds, your different users on the back end of your systems, there is no one view, right? Service needs a different set of data than marketing. Marketing needs a different set of data than commerce. Sales needs an entirely different set of data. And that's why we call it the common customer data model, because that's where you're going to retrieve the data that you need in context to make the best possible experience at that moment. And finally, we're not going to talk too much about this in the demo today, but this idea of global rules and policy management, where you can control and define how people access data, whether that's through permissions and rules, or actually cascading down policies on who can access which data, where, in what system, and how. So that's a critical component to the integration builder layer. And finally, we're going to talk about the integrated experiences. And that's why it's so important for us to be here at Trailhead DX today, talking with you at this sneak peek level. Because at the end of the day, it's the developers and the admins who are going to be building these next-gen connected customer experiences. And that's why we're here. Because you're going to be thinking about, how do I deliver these incredible multi-cloud solutions? If you hear our chairman, Keith Block, who was the host of the keynote today, he often talks about how important it is for customers to think through the lens of industry. You know, how you deliver customer experiences is heavily influenced by the industry you're in. And that will be something that maybe our internal teams, but also all of our developers will be delivering. And of course, that's it, partners and SIs, and developers and admins within organizations. We're counting on all of you to take this integration cloud and be the trailblazers that lead the next gen of connected customer experiences. So what I'm going to do today, is talk a little bit about the integration builder. We're going to go into system mapping and the common customer data model and a common customer model in a little bit more depth than we were able to do during the keynote. And to do that, I'm going to talk about a use case that we call seamless service for commerce customers, where you're able to surface relevant customer data from Salesforce and external systems. You'll be able to view interaction history, so the real-time interaction that your customer is having in a commerce environment. And finally, you'll see that we can actually deliver through this common understanding of the customer, synchronize Einstein recommendations. So I'm lucky to have a very good friend here, Kim, to help me drive this demo. And we're going to go ahead and switch over to the demo now. And there we go. All right, great. So I'm an admin, and I've been tasked with creating that next-gen connected customer experience. And where I go, and I land at the integration cloud dashboard. And the dashboard has three main components. Of course, it has your general nav on the left that we're used to. But in the middle and to the right is where the magic happens. In the middle, you'll see that we have this really intuitive, click-based UI for adding data sources. You can not only add your Salesforce data sources, which we'll take a look at here, but you can also add other data and other systems. Let's take a look at the Salesforce data and take a look. Of course, you can add multiple clouds. Within the clouds, you can add multiple instances of a cloud. A lot of companies have gone through a lot of growth where they've added multiple orgs. So let's take a step back and look at what's on the bottom right. The bottom right is a set of common partners, right? There is data throughout your organization. A lot of those are being added to your Salesforce instance as App Exchange partners. They might just be external systems that you've mapped in. But what we hear over and over again is bring that to us as simply as possible. So we'll surface for you common partners that you can then access through this click-based UI. And one of the things that makes me really excited is this notion of guides. You know, this notion of bringing in a Trailhead-like experience right into the application. So Kim, let's take a look at the guides. Cool. So now we're in our guide gallery. And the guide gallery, we've heard over and over, and we've talked to lots of customers doing research about what is it that you want to do, and what are the most common examples of what you want to do. And the idea came like, why don't we just build that into the product, make it simple, make it click-based, make it intuitive, so that you can deliver on these really straightforward use cases. And as I gave an example of what I used to do, connect marketing to commerce, and understanding that. That's actually a really common use case. It's not easy. And what we're going to do is make it out of the box, right? But for this example, we're going to dive into that seamless customer experience for commerce customers and enable service for commerce. And you'll land here and you'll see that, it's okay. We'll land here and we'll see that we go ahead and start the guide. And you'll see that there's a checklist. And that checklist allows for us to have a very simple, straightforward path from going to not connected to completely connected experiences. So you'll see that it has these six steps, and we'll go ahead and get started by connect data sources. And of course, our number one goal is connecting commerce and service. And how are we going to do that? Well, the first thing that we need to do is go ahead and add our Commerce Cloud. And you'll see here, and I want to take a little pause to talk a little bit more depth here, that what we're doing, and I've been at the booth a little bit, and everyone's like, oh, is that OAuth? Is that authentication? And we'll continue to evolve, but how you do authentication today is how you'll do authentication through the platform. But what's really important here to understand is that there's now this idea of an admin who's working across clouds, who's working across the organization. We're looking for you, and the reason we're here talking to you kind of early in the development of the product is we're looking for trailblazers to understand how are you going to build these connected customer experiences and to start thinking about the skills and the collaboration and the partnership that you're going to need to have across your company to deliver on this. So it's no longer just one admin working in Sales Cloud. It's going to be the admin that works across the organization to deliver on this connected customer experience. And that's what's super exciting to me. Cool, so let's go ahead and allow the authentication. And you'll see that we have now added our Commerce Cloud instance. It's right there. Kim, I know you did a lot of work to connect a lot of other clouds, so let's go ahead and pop in there. And cool, voila. So Kim's done all the hard stuff. We added a bunch of stuff. You'll see that we've added not only commerce, but through organizational growth or through just pragmatic rules, we have to keep our Service Cloud instances separate by geo. That's not an uncommon thing. And we even hear in instances like financial services where there's regulatory rules, where you have to keep data separate. This is common. We hear it a lot. So you'll be able to map them all here. And you know what about NTO, the organization that we use in our demo environment? They're not just a retailer. They're actually a manufacturer too. So they have a Sales Cloud environment where they connect to their customers in the B2B context. And I talked a little bit about loyalty. That's really a critical in these environments, in a retail environment. Loyalty is a place where you aggregate a lot of external data systems. Your POS, your order management can all aggregate data there. So it's a critical component. And every one of you, whether you're in retail or not, has some system like that. That's a really critical piece for you to bring in to understand who your customer is across your entire experience. So let's go ahead and now we're going to do some really fun stuff. We're going to map data. Well, I think that's fun, but I'm kind of a data geek. So this is really where there's really a lot going on this page. So let's start first with the canonical data model or the common data model. And what we're doing is instead of thinking about replicating data across all of the clouds or across all of your external instances of data, we're creating one common data model or customer data model for all of your instances to map into. So if you think about it, for the Service Cloud instant, we have common objects. Everyone has sort of the same first name field. But when you start bringing in external systems, you might have first name named as f.name in some places and not be able to map. You need a place where you can map all of those and retrieve it from one single place in the moment when you need it. So what we have here is we do have a custom field in our Service Cloud instance called camper name. And what we want to do is map that to our common model. So what Kim's going to do is go ahead and edit our canonical and add a field named nickname, right? So now what we're going to do is map camper name to nickname. And when we need to retrieve the nickname, we'll be mapped to camper name across all of our different instances once they're mapped. But I want to this is another place where I want to click in a little bit more. One of the examples that I think about when what we're building is from my past life and what I used to do in my old role. And it was really this issue where I had all these retailers. Someone would call into the service center. Let's call him Robert Jones. And in this call, it would say, Robert Jones, all caps, because that's what came in on the order. Autofill from the credit card. Really annoying. He's like, oh, by the way, I go by Bob. So the service agent would change his name to Bob and think that's going to propagate throughout the system. Next order comes in. Guess what happens? It's Robert Jones, all caps. Next email goes out. It says, Dear Robert, all caps. Absolutely not the type of personalized experience that we want to provide. And those are the types of the single view customer that we'll be able to provide to all of you through this common customer data model, right? So that's just kind of give you an idea of where we're headed with this, is really what's happening in the back end through all of this mapping and technology. So now we've done this, we're going to go ahead and save it. And woohoo! Confetti. Who doesn't love confetti? Awesome. So we've done it. We got in a badge. We talked a little bit about bringing Trailhead right into the product. Trailhead's now. It's also the future. You're going to see a lot more of this built into Salesforce products. We're super excited. So let's go ahead and take a look at the dashboard and kind of see what's happened. The constellation, as we like to call it, is mapped. We have all these incredible data sources. Oh, she took it away from me. She's going to map this all real fast. Go ahead, save. There you go. Switch to dashboard. All right, and what we found is we mapped all of the customer records. There's 29 million going in, right? So how did we do that? Basically, now we know there's 7 million, and the mapping is all resolved to a common customer record, and we know across all of our different instances who's who and how that's actually come into being a single view of the customer across all of the different services that we have access to. Super exciting, and it's really critical to delivering that level of experience that we're going to take a look at now in Service Cloud. So what's happening here in Service Cloud? Well, some things are happening in real time like we're looking at now, which is what is in Robin Stone's cart, right? We need to know that to provide the level of experience that today's customer expects. But we also need to know historical information, like maybe what's been purchased in the past, because this could be about an order that was processed and might be shipping already, or what's in the wish list, or what's been browsed. But also of critical importance is the data right under Robin's name. Like what type of loyalty customer is she? Is she someone that we want to provide an extra level of service to? Perhaps an extra offer, perhaps a complimentary gift. So all of that plays into right into the type of experience that we expect across all of the different touch points. But I mentioned that NTO is not just a B2C company, it's actually a manufacturer. And it turns out that Robin is also a B2B customer. She owns a small ski shop in her hometown and in Salt Lake City, and she can actually also call in and be a customer on the B2B side. So it's really important when you have this complete profile of the customer to understand the context in which she's calling in and able to reconcile that and give all of that information to who's ever on the call with her, whether that's the B2C service agent or the B2B salesperson. And you know this information would be super helpful in B2B sales, right? You know she has a personal experience with your brand, with your product. How she interacts with it on a regular basis is all super critical for her and to help you sell more ski products going into the holiday season or into the winter. So that's super exciting. I'm super excited about being on this project and helping bring it to market and sharing this early sneak peek with you. Super important that the skills that we talked about, the next gen sort of customer experience, being a trailblazer, an admin across all the different roles is super important, and super excited to have all you be part of that. We have some incredible integration content throughout Trailhead DX. We have some sessions, some more sessions. I'll give you a sneak peek into that real quick. 3 more sessions I'm highlighting here. One later today, bringing engaging experiences to life with Lightning Flow today at 4:30. Be a data management hero tomorrow at 11:30. Make Salesforce the epicenter of your digital transformation tomorrow afternoon. And then in the Dev Forest, front and center, we have the Integration Cloud booth. And right behind it is the MuleSoft booth. And then over here to the right, we have 2 really cool Lightning platform integration booths with Salesforce Connect data and platform events. I really appreciate all of your time. I hope you have an awesome Trailhead DX and look forward to having you blaze trails on the Integration Cloud.